Do this one thing before you pass your next exam. I've spent 15 years of my life being in the educational system, as well as 9 months ago, I started service that I work with teachers and also students that are about to work on their essays, their final essays. So I can speak and it can give you, with this, I promise that your exams will never be the same, and what you will see, you can never unseen it. The way I'm gonna give you the stories that I think that had the best and biggest impact. Then I'm gonna give you the lessons that I think they actually did change everything for me and for other people. And the third, I'm gonna give you a secret of mine. So the first thing that I'm gonna start with is the best year of my educational career of 15 years. So here, you might want to listen on this, because in that year, I was not only doing school, which is high school at the time, I was passing one of the hardest exam in the country, which is the national last exam so for you to graduate high school. So I was going through that, doing multiple tasks. I was studying, right? That's one. I was doing e-commerce. That's two. I was uploading videos on YouTube. That's three. And now I was training. I was good. I was running. I was doing home workouts, street workouts, all of it. And it was good in all of the aspects, right? I was socializing. It was awesome. And still, I managed to get in the final exam the best notes in all of my friends and in all of my class. And in fact, in multiple classes. So how did I do that? And was I really all in? So was I a nerd for my entire life? So that year was just a little bit of exception? No. In fact, the year prior to that, I didn't get anywhere near that good of a point. So here you probably want to hear, because the other thing that I'm gonna even add it, I didn't even do extra classes. Everyone is doing additional classes. I didn't take any of them because I simply didn't have the money, nor did I have the energy or time, because I was doing all of these other stuff. While my friends, they were actually taking classes the entire year. Actually, for 3 years prior to that, they were taking additional classes, learning lessons about twice or 3 times more than me, taking more exercises, and basically just studying more. But I still outperformed them in the final national exam. I think this comes down to a few reasons. And this will portray itself awesome in the story that I'm gonna say. So something that I was always doing is actually tracking myself, but not to a crazy level that I'm gonna speak about in a moment. Because later on, I tracked myself for 30 months, and one of them was that period when I passed that national exam, to realize few stuff that actually shocked me about how can you get to that state. The first one is you have to make goals, and you have to make them unrealistic. I remember making the yearly resolutions for that year, and I made an insane grade that I have to take. I said, you know what, you will get this grade. I don't remember what it is, but probably it was like 19 out of 20. Let alone that the best people in the class, like in all, probably, they will get 17. So it's insane to say 19. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get 19 this year. There's no excuses. If you didn't do good, if you get 17, I'll think it's fine. Sure, I'm gonna pass that, but you have to get that 19. To give you the comparison, the year prior to that, so the regional, there's a national and the regional, so the state exam, I got 14. So you're like, oh, well, that's huge difference. Yes, it is. Making those unrealistic goals make you and gives you the adrenaline. And this is something also mentioned in the 4-Hour Work Week. He says about why you should actually make the unrealistic goals, mainly because it gives you the adrenaline to take on those tasks. It gives you so much adrenaline that you cannot just get from normal bullshit task or bullshit goal. So I want to get this bullshit grade. It does not motivate you. It does not excite you. So the goals that you put in, at least in the first place, must be exciting for you. So you get the adrenaline rush that will make you going through all of the tasks, all of the obstacles that you will get in your way like butter. And this actually portrayed itself awesome in the year that I started with. But to give you a comparison and to make things fair, the first year in college was not the best, okay? I was great in college. It was the 8th, right, in the class. But at the end, I got suspended from the college for 1 year. So okay, so what's the differences between the two? I was the 8th in college doing good, but the thing, I was not doing the stuff that I said. In the first year of college, I stopped everything I was doing. I was only focusing on college. So I stopped making YouTube videos. I stopped doing sports. I stopped doing sales, which is stupid, you might say. But I thought that if I give all of my time to one thing, the ROI will be better. The thing is that if you're good at one thing, you're good at everything else. Right? Which I learned in the hard way. Because the other stuff not only gave me the benefits of doing them, but also they gave me benefits that portrayed themselves in the educational career. I'm giving you an example. So let's say I'm doing sales. I have to convince people. I have to tell people all of these different stuff. Okay? In school, a lot of it is about sales too. Right? You have to convince the teacher to give you the note. That's the basic. Shut up, don't give me the bullshit of notes and grades and whatever. You have to convince the teacher to give you the good notes. How you do that will differ. It depends on the teacher. Some of them takes the notes, some of them takes on the participation. So it depends on who he is. And by understanding what your teacher wants, which is basically a process in the sales process, you will comprehend what will he probably most likely put in the exams. Right? And this is something that was literally life-changing. And if this is not enough for you, I'm going to give you another point. And look, this point alone, you can just take it and you will thank me for it. That's one. And also you will never be the same after this. If I have the decision between preparing for a class for 3 months for an exam, or I prepare for it for 1 day or 3 hours, I will always choose the less amount. And most importantly, the closest amount to the exam. And it's not about the ADHD and bullshit that you see on Instagram Reels. I've seen some of those. They're like, the ADHD always comes clutch at the last time. That's bullshit. Cut the crap. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. You shouldn't even see that. What I'm speaking about is the types of memory. There is something that I've heard even from Alex Hormozi. He was speaking to this conference. He was explaining how he does presentations. And he says the biggest thing, the highest ROI that I did in presentations in my sales process was actually to get ready for the presentation. And usually is in 1/10 of the time. So if I have a presentation of 4 hours, I might take 1 hour to prepare for it. If it's 20 minutes, it might take 5 minutes to prepare for it. And in that presentation, in that process, he will learn about who is he talking about, what is he will be talking about, what are the stuff that he must think. So the introduction will be awesome, okay? And also the entire presentation as a whole will be awesome. Once you see someone like Alex Hormozi saying this, who literally helps people, helps a brand grow from $1 million a year, or like this guy might have something, okay? And he was doing this not only now when he has all of this stuff, because there's advices that you shouldn't take from people that are higher than you because they are in a different mental state, So their advices might not be applicable at all to you. So you want to take advices from people that are 1 to 2 steps ahead of you. And once you see him, Alex Hormozi, he was doing this for his entire career. This is not something that he was doing now. And he was thinking about it. I said, okay, so does this make any sense with the data that I collected with the national exam? And I found out that, well, it's actually completely makes so much sense. And I actually went out and it was, going through the data. I found that portrayed itself even in the tests that I had, right? I had, and as an example, this one test in Arabic. I literally prepared for it in the hour before the test. I woke up, I ate breakfast, and I was, okay, I'm going to go through this. And I got an amazing grade. I remember I was the first in the class in that while filming a YouTube video. And you were like, dude, what? And people were literally doing whatever, and they didn't. Okay, I'm not going to compare myself to others, but you get the point. You understand now. It's like people were literally studying for that test and they didn't get that note. And they were only studying for that test. Which says that, look, doing multiple things at the same time will help you have more energy, will help you have a better mental state, okay, will help you manage your stress levels. Doing more than one thing, as an example, working and studying, will help you to get in the levels of stress that you want, because no stress is not good. Going all in school or college or whatever degree you are in is trying to eliminate all of the stress that comes from it, that is external than your studies. It looks awesome in paper, but it's not, because your stress levels are not where they should be. Let's say from a scale to 1 to 10, your stress levels usually is at 4, but feels as if it's 15, but it's not, because simply that's just the perceived stress, not your actual stress level. And that's why I always go through this dialogue with college students, and I say, what do you do? And they usually say that I just go back home and I sleep. Like, that's all. I'm like, yeah, no wonder you're not feeling good, And repeatedly get that. Or they just go, you know what, I was just scrolling on YouTube, I was just scrolling on social media. No wonder, dude. It's like, dude, what do you think is better? You are going to spend time on social media and stuff like that, so might as well do that time and spend it on working. So you're not only giving yourself the opportunity to, the potential to make money or to learn or whatever, to connect with people that you want, but you're also managing your energy, because that also gives you energy. And this applies if you're an introvert, if you're extrovert, anyone can actually get benefit from this principle. So, as I told you, I'm going to give you the stories. I'm going to give you the plot twist. You see the plot twist of all of this? Is that especially if you want to do something else or you want to become big in your life, and going to college is not something you wanted. So I had this period of my life when I wanted to quit out of college. I even dropped out of college. And even 1 or 2 months prior to this time, I went to a therapist and I talked to her about this. I said, you know what, I want to drop out of college. I want to pursue my dreams, but my mother didn't want to. My family obviously didn't want to. And I got that. And he said, here's what I think. And she was like, do you think? She was asking me back and forth. It's like 1 hour session. And she convinced me that I shouldn't. But it's something that most people go through. It's part of the process, right? And it's not only like as if I hate college, but I just love something else. Or you know what I mean? It's like, people when they say, I'm going to give you an example. Someone tells you, give me a pen, and you have one pen to write. And you say no. And they say, bro, dude, do you hate me that much? No, I don't hate you. I just love myself. It's different. So a lot of people are in this shoe, and because I talk to so many students and so many teachers too, right? Because teachers are not very different. I have a service that literally serves just students. I worked with 70. Right now, I would say it's more than 80, but I'm going to just leave it, let's say 70 as an understatement. 70 people, I've seen how they work on a stress environment. So we're talking about essay, we're talking about presentations, the final essay in a master degree. So it's not just some bullshit crap degree, you see? And people give a value to it. And I've seen all of them, right? The differences between them. And just the same thing happens again and again. The thing you want to do is you don't want to be in the place that is portrayed in social media with lo-fi music and study with me music and all of that bullshit, because they seem more of a depressed environment. You don't want to be there. I'm saying the truth. Like in the best years of my life, academically, I was not in that mood of studying all the time, 15 hours a day, with being depressed and playing lo-fi music. I swear it will not help you, and I'm talking based on data. I've seen the data when it was doing that. It did not work. Okay, even if you happen to get the good grade, as I told you, the first year in college, I was doing that. Watching the lo-fi music, watching the gurus about how to be the perfect student, how to do this. And it was always a coward. It was always all of those traits that is portrayed as the perfect student. But guess what? At the end, what I got suspended for 1 year. I'm not saying that you will do the same or you will have the same circumstances, but what I'm actually saying is that these are the actual truth that you have to comprehend. You don't want to be there. You want to be hype. If you're gonna listen to music, I think you should just don't listen to music, honestly, in my opinion. Because you're limiting the stimuli that touches your brain. It's just way better to be out of music and control your own stimuli. And usually it's better if it's your thoughts and emotions and your desires. And that helps you. And of course, I can go in depth. And also, there's a lot of books. I think Think and Grow Rich, Persuasion, and also The Richest Man in Babylon talks about these aspects. So the way I'm speaking about here is that you don't want to be in that state. So when I was revising for the national test exam, I had 2 months. Everyone had like 8 months to prepare, 7 months, 6 months to prepare for it. I didn't. I had 2 months. Okay, so I cut down everything. I'm not gonna lie, I cut down everything. I went into monk mode, as a lot of people are calling it. I went into monk mode, but it's for 2 months, not for 3 years. 2 months, I was all in. I look at the data. I was like, okay, here's all the subject that I have. Here's all the lessons, and I know order them by importance, and also I know the ones that I know, so I'm capable of answering and not going all of them. And I know the ones that I have to work on more on because I don't know what they are. So I did that 2 months, but I was not in that depressed thing. I was really hyped up, just like I'm doing sports, because I went out from doing sports to not doing sports, but still, like my stamina, everything stayed with me. So it was very good mentally, very good psychologically, physically, socially. I was all in going with preparing for the exam, but that does not mean that I'm not gonna be good mentally, because that's what people are portraying with YouTube videos, and they're like, oh, it's just stress and so much caffeine and I slept at 5 a.m. No, never do that. Okay, except if you're a night owl, then that makes sense, but only if you are in a vacation or if you are in the period prior to the exam and you don't have real life duty that you have to wake up for in the morning. This is important because if you have to wake up for, you want to have that good night's sleep. If you're studying, 30 hours a day, you're not getting the good night's sleep, it's all wasted. It's all water on sand. It will not work. So you have literally to track all the metrics of your life. Right? Some of them, sure, you can sacrifice. As I told you, for one period, for small period, like mine, I knew that I took a risk with not preparing for the exam the entire year. To make up for it, I took 2 months or 1 month and a half, and I went all in. Other people didn't have the energy to do that because they did that for like 8 months. So now they're exhausted, dude. They're bored of the class. They're bored of everything related to the exam. Well, me, I have the energy, dude. I was doing all of these different stuff, and now I'm doing this, so it's a new thing for me. So a lot of people go through this. A lot of people have this, and a lot of people don't know these points. They can literally a deal breaker or a deal maker. So you want to be in that good phase. You want to have all of the stuff that I'm talking about here because it's actually very important to understand them. And it's not only something that applied for me, because also the other day one friend called me and he said, there is one cousin that I have and he didn't prepare for the national exam. And I know you did the same, but you performed crazy, or outperformed most of us that were spending crazy amount of time doing it. And I said, look, you have to believe in it, that first. 2, you have to go all in. And that's also one thing. But I would say like for college tests that are normal, so this is national exam. We're talking about the national exam. Everybody's going through the same exam in the country at the same level, at the same time, right? So not every exam is at this level that you need to take 1.5 months to prepare for it. Some exams just take 1 hour. If it's a test, college test, you can take 1 hour, prepare for the entire thing, go there and go in clutch, because you will use your short-term memory. And this is something that I did last year. I understood, I'm going to tell you this is insane story that taught me this principle so good that I will never forget it. There's one day that I got suspended in school, so I knew that something bad happened. I didn't know yet that I will get suspended. So I called the coordinator of the option that I was in, and I said, look, this is what happened and you're not telling me like what's gonna happen. So should I prepare for tomorrow, or should I just stop and prepare for the other stuff that we will have like, later, because I'm just not gonna pass. He said, look, just go there tomorrow and do that. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go sleep. Because the day prior, I slept like 2 hours, 3 hours. I slept at 5 a.m. That's why I started with sleeping. You have to maintain your sleep. I slept so good. Before I went to the exam that night, I didn't prepare at all for that exam. So in comparison to the other exams that I got suspended in, I prepared so much. So I didn't prepare. Just before I got there, I took like half an hour. So I was eating breakfast. I took my notebook and I went through the entire books. I got 19.5 out of 20. My best grade in the entire college career. I didn't revise at all. I just slept for 12 hours and I went there and I came in clutch. And that's why you should use your short-term memory, especially if it's a school test. So it's not only doing stuff that, we're not talking about the national exam. Sure, you can do that. But if it's a test, dude, use your short-term memory. So as I promised, now you have an entire logic. What you have seen here, you can never unseen it because of its importance and also the role it plays for everyone's life. As a student, as a teacher, as a college student, whatever it is, your level, your education will never be the same. And as I promised, I gave you the story, the secrets, and the plot twist. They will change everything. Like, subscribe.